There is no Ethan. How Three Women Caught America's Biggest Catfish. Written by Anna Akbari and published in June of 2024 by Grand Central Publishing. The Snippet read by Richard Coombs. Available for checkout right now at the Alice L. Pendleton Library. December 26th, 2010. Welcome to the real world. This was the first email I received from Ethan Schuman. At this point, I'd been online dating for years. I dabbled in Nerve.com, the edgier alternative to more conservative sites like Match.com, then eventually migrated over to OkCupid, intrigued by its data-centric approach to predicting compatibility. Much like real-world dating, the online experience was hit or miss. Some weirdos, some players, some nice but boring guys, and the occasional gem. So I didn't think of meeting online as any better or worse. It was merely another outlet for connecting with potential partners. I took a numbers approach to it, willing to try out lots of different connections, most of which didn't materialize into anything. There were the polyamorous Burning Man devotees, all eager to convert me, the anti-science guys who hadn't been to a doctor in the better part of a decade, rivaled only by the anti-hygiene man. There is no toothbrush in the animal kingdom, one less than fresh man informed me. Or the alpha guys, who, while initially attracted to an ambitious woman with a career, quickly revealed their true desire, best articulated by one man. I'm searching for an executive vice president of my household. Thanks to these and countless other non-starters, I knew what I did and didn't want in a partner. But rather than a checklist of deal breakers, I had one big ask. I wanted an equal, someone who matched my energy and curiosity. It's an intangible quality that isn't easily communicated on a dating profile, but I knew it when I encountered it. Out of the gate, I had a feeling it might be Ethan. His user handle was Beyond Sleeping because he was just too excited about life to waste time sleeping. Ethan was 35, 6 feet tall, approachably attractive, and came with a PhD and a job he described as stealing from the rich. He advertised himself as someone who preferred women being the ages of 30 and 45 and knew how to make a woman feel loved. He drove a BMW, had a dog named Harvey, loved elbow patches, pickles, and fountain pens, and preferred boxers to boxer briefs. He was both an atheist and Jewish and somewhat serious about it, and thought everything one needed to know about romance was summed up in When Harry Met Sally. Ethan was born in New York, the youngest son of Russian Jewish immigrants. His sister was married and lived in New York City, and his brother, the Rebel, had married and moved to Santa Monica. His mother was a music teacher and his father a lawyer. They lived in New Jersey. He told me he owned a 3-bedroom apartment, because I think of you and your ovaries, on the Upper West Side, as well as another apartment in D.C. He graduated from Stuyvesant High School in New York City, then majored in physics at Columbia. He completed a PhD in applied math at MIT and now split his time working for Morgan Stanley and the US government, which left him living and working between DC, Ireland, and NYC. Ethan was impressive, there was no denying that, but we felt well matched. I'd finished my PhD in sociology 2 years earlier and moved from teaching at Parsons School of Design to teaching in the Media, Culture, and Communications department at NYU. The pay was crap, but it was a prized position that allowed me to develop a curriculum based on my dissertation, an exploration of identity and self-presentation, and I really loved teaching. But it wasn't Ethan's resume that captured my attention, it was his cleverness, his openness, and perhaps most of all, his eagerness to keep the conversation going that swept me off my digital feet. It was the day after Christmas 2010, and the eve of yet another epic New York snowstorm, when I found Ethan on OkCupid. OkCupid encouraged the abundant exchange of words with its users. There was even an IM chat feature built into the platform. Users rarely met after a couple of brief messages. Instead, there was often a lengthy back and forth before a date was set. The profiles lent themselves to novel-length self-descriptions, and many users took advantage of the generous word limits permitted for each question prompt. Some user profiles read more like philosophy essays than modern-day dating profiles, but such was the trend of that era. Typing long-form prose came more easily back then, in part because users were accessing the data sites almost exclusively via a computer rather than a phone. If apps like Bumble and Hinge are a human catalog, image-centric and glossy, old-school OkCupid was the Saturday night bar experience in virtual form. Clever openers, witty banter, and long-game verbal rapport building.